Hey guys, welcome to News Wednesday. Today I'm going to be talking about something I'm actually very excited about. Some news just dropped on Monday that John Boyega, one of my favorite actors, is going to be in Pacific Rim 2. Now, John Boyega, if you don't know, got his famous role in I guess not necessarily famous, but his breakout role in Attack the Block, which actually I did a throwback for. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go on my channel and check that out. But he's also plays Finn in Star Wars The Force Awakens. Finn, aka FN2187, aka Traitor! But I'm super excited for this news, and not only does it hype up Pacific Rim 2 more for me, but just as a fan of John Boyega and Pacific Rim, the two coming together, it's just like a nerdgasm over here. Just in case you guys don't know, Pacific Rim was a film that came out in 2013. It was written and directed by the brilliant Guillermo del Toro. It stars Charlie Hunnam, Ron Perlman, Idris Elba, and Charlie Day. So essentially what the story of Pacific Rim is that these gigantic monsters, which are called kaiju, are coming through this portal in the ocean. They're coming through this portal and they're destroying the crap out of Earth. They come in different classes. They keep getting bigger and bigger. Earth's response to this is to create these massive robots called Jaegers. Inside of these Jaegers, there's actually two pilots who sort of do like this mind meld. We call it like a bridge or like a drift. So these two pilots drift together to control this massive robot. And they go and they fight these gigantic monsters that have come from the ocean. That's essentially the entire plot of Pacific Rim. But it's so awesome. I mean, this blew, for me at least, giant robot movies and giant monster movies out of the water. Like, this was 10 times what Godzilla is. Like, it's just such a cool concept that Del Toro came up with. I mean, Del Toro is amazing as it is. Doing Hellboy 1 and 2, Pan's Labyrinth. This guy is an artist, and Pacific Rim was a world he created that's just beautiful and sort of intense at the same time. So action heavy. It's such an awesome movie. I can't say enough good things about it. So back to the news. Now, what the reports have been saying is that he's going to be playing Idris Elba's son. Now, real big spoiler alert in case you haven't seen the first film. Idris Elba's character died. Now, this brings a lot of questions. One of the first questions that I think is probably either dumb or it might actually be kind of cool is, what accent will John Boyega have? He does an amazing job at accents. His American accent in Star Wars The Force Awakens, flawless, amazing. So I'm really interested to find out what his accent's going to be, as weird as that may sound. Another question that I ask myself for this film is something that references to the first film and kind of like calls back to that. In the first film, in case, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen it, this may be something that you want to skip over, I'm not sure. But Idris Elba at one point co-pilots with a man he's never co-piloted with before. And he says that he can co-pilot with anyone because he doesn't bring anything with him into the drift. When the two pilots' minds sort of come together to control this giant robot. Now, what makes me question is, does he just not really know about his son? Does he not know he has a son? Does Idris Elba's character not necessarily care? Does he just sort of disconnect everything from his personal life into the drift so he can be a strong drift compatible with anyone? Like, this is a question that I hope they address in some way, shape, or form. Did he abandon his family? Like I said, did Idris Elba not even know he had a son? I think that brings up a lot of interesting points that they can sort of play with in the sequel. Also, another big question that I have, which is probably going to be my last question of this small little bit of news, is who, if John Boyega is going to most likely co-pilot at least one Jaeger in this entire film, which is the giant robot again. So, who will his compatible person be? Because Charlie Hunnam, the main character, is supposed to be returning for the sequel, or at least is rumored to. So, will he be drift compatible with him? Because he found his partner in the first film. Will something happen to her? There's a lot of different stories that I'm super intrigued to find out, because not necessarily that the first film left a lot of questions, but because now that this news is sort of breaking, it's making me ask a lot of questions of the first film. So unfortunately, Guillermo del Toro is not returning to direct this film, but it is very much his baby still. He is still a writer on the project. He's still a producer on the project. So his hand is still very much on Pacific Rim 2. The director of Pacific Rim 2 is actually going to be Stephen A. DeKnight, who directed the Starz series Spartacus, which should be interesting to see how he addresses something like Pacific Rim 2, which is extremely effects heavy. But I guess we'll see. But I think it's good that he's going to be directing Stephen A. DeKnight, because he's going to give you a lot more of that personal interaction, that person-to-person interaction, which shows very, very well in something like Spartacus or like Spartacus Blood and Sand. But we're definitely going to get a lot of monster versus robots fights, which I am pumped about. Also, several of the main characters are sort of expected to return to this film, including Charlie Hunnam, and even Ron Perlman, who, once again, spoiler alert, I'm sorry for the people who haven't seen the first film, died in the first film. I know I'm telling you like all the people that died, but, or at least maybe they'll kind of spin it to where you thought he died, but something else happened. I don't know, the way he dies, I'm not going to tell you the way he dies, or supposedly dies, I guess, but, you know, they could sort of twist it around, because it could be a misdirect. We never know. But if he returns, I would be super excited, because Ron Perlman in just about anything is awesome. Guys, hopefully all of the questions will be answered, all the questions that I have, all the questions maybe you have. Do you have any questions about this film? What do you think about this casting? Are you excited to see Pacific Rim 2? Did you like the first one enough to see a sequel? Or do you think it was good enough to leave it alone and leave it standing alone by itself? Let me know what you guys think about that, any of that, in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and like always, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.